and more. Rapidly, happily, I look back on the finish. Your call, her stop paved the way. Now all eyes on me. Cause I'm young, black, and gifted. Me, now all eyes don't see. If I come back when faced with a challenge, that's meant to break. Okay. I'm going to share this over to our page. We're live now in from Pain to Purpose. So I'm going to share this over to Healing Pain Through the Arts group. Okay. It is now 7:04, and we do not own the rights to this music. Welcome back to another episode of Healing Pain Through the Arts presents Youth Speak Out podcast. We want to welcome our team. We have D Smoke playing in the background. We do not own the rights to this music. His song Black Habits is what we've been using to promote our episode for tonight, which is Young and Black in America. So we're gonna let D Smoke digress because we're gonna get into our conversation. So welcome tonight to our team. We're gonna just welcome each one of you: Christian Buckmeyer, Ashton Gates, Andrew Buckmeyer, St. Even, Emmanuel Lyons. We want to thank you and I am Amber Lyons, the CEO and founder of From Pain to Purpose. This is our Youth Speak Out team, which is a part of our Healing Pain Through the Arts youth program. And we are back tonight with our episode that we've been promising and promoting about Young and Black in America. We promise that this is going to be some good dialogue. We want to thank everybody who joined in to actually be a part of our last podcast, our first live stream that we did 2 weeks ago, where we were in here discussing COVID-19 and how it has affected our youth from their perspective. So we want to thank everybody from that has supported that. We ask you to continue to go to connect with us on our social media platforms, from here on Facebook. We are From Pain to Purpose. We also have a Healing Pain Through the Arts group page. You can also find us on YouTube at From Pain to Purpose Incorporated, on Twitter, Pain to Purpose, and on Instagram, From Pain to Purpose. Our team tonight has been doing an excellent job, and I'm just so grateful to be working with them. And we're going to jump right into actually our topic on tonight. And we want to thank everyone that is viewing with us. We do encourage you to be engaged and to, talk to our young people, to give us some feedback. We are looking forward to you actually, engaging with them. We want to hear what you have to say. We want to be able to read your comments. Feel free to actually give comments on the podcast while we're actually dialoguing. We will read your comments as we are able to. And if you have a question that you want to ask them, please feel free. Please share the broadcast as you enter into the studio with us tonight. So we had shared some information, some statistics and different things in regards to being young and Black in America. One of the things that we had shared was a quote from Malcolm X. And the quote said, "The goal is the dignity of the Black man in America. He wants respect, the human being. He wants recognition as a human being." And that's what Malcolm X said. So to our young people tonight, we had threw some things around that we want to discuss with them. And when you open up to answer the question, you want to tell people who you are, that's cool. We're going to jump right in and we're going to ask our first question. Our first question is, are you proud to be young and Black in America? And what does that mean to you? In relationship, what I just spoke about, what Malcolm X said, that he just wants to be recognized as a human being. What is that? How does that feel to you to be young and Black in America? We're going to start with Ashton.
I mean, I don't think that there's, well, first, yes, I am proud, but I don't think there's a clear-cut definition of what it means to be Black or anything like that. I think it depends on, I think a lot of Black people share similar experiences, but we don't all live the same life, so it's all based upon your own perspective of what you've been through and what it means to you to be Black.
Okay, we have a little bit of feedback on your end. So do me a favor and just repeat that a little bit louder, please.
I said that there is no clear-cut definition and that it's going to differ based on what each person has been through in their own life, basically.
Okay, so from your perspective, how do you feel about being young and Black in America, and what does that mean to you as Ashton Gates?
Me, I mean, being proud of the way that I grew up and not letting any stereotypes, any discriminations anybody else has develop me or towards me change the way that I view myself and how proud I am towards my own personal experience.
Okay. We want to be able to hear everyone clearly. So that we're still getting a little bit of feedback. Do you have your headset?
Well, when I had the headphones, you said I sounded like a robot. So I had
Oh, that's what happened. You had the headset in. Okay. Well, in regards to what you just said, being proud of who you are and proud of where you came from and where you grew up from, and you know, your own background is what you bring to being Black in America. And each one of us has to have that sense of pride. So we want to thank you for that. We're going to ask Andrew, how do you feel? What does it mean to you to be young and Black in America? And are you proud to be young and Black in America?
That's a tricky question, because when you say how does it feel to be young Black in America, there's many different answers from my perspective, because there's a day to day, there's a how do I just feel about it, like I've never really like just sat and just think, yo, I'm Black, you know, like I was born this way, so like it's the only reality I know. So for me, I would say it's more, I feel like it has more to do. I am proud to be Black. However, I am definitely proud to be Black. I'm not ashamed, and I'm not gonna lie and act like I would rather be anything else, if that makes sense. Like I'm happy that I'm Black, and I feel like that is 100% why I am the way I am.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think there's a lot of things about me that if they were different, I probably would be, you know, similar. But if I wasn't Black, I definitely wouldn't be at all like I am now. And
so being Black has shaped you, helped to shape you who you are.
Yeah, because of how people have treated me because of it, not necessarily itself, you know, like I wouldn't say like my ancestry or stuff like that, because I don't really know anything about that. But yeah, in a sense, yes, indirectly, because of what people see through their lens.
Okay. All right, cool. Christian,
What was the question?
are you proud to be young and Black in America, and what does that mean to you?
Well, yes, I am proud to be young and Black in America. I think it means that I, for being young and black to me, I think it might be different. It's kind of subjective because I really didn't have that many quote unquote hardships because of my race.
Mm-hmm.
So but however, I am proud to be black. For me, being young black in America is more about my family's ancestry, meaning that I live to make my parents proud and my grandmother proud and things like that because of what they did to get me in the position that to where I am today.
Okay. All right. That's cool. Um, so your history has a lot to do with how you see who you are as a black man, young man in America.
Absolutely.
Okay. Your history, your legacy, your foundation of your family. Saint Even, Emmanuel, we're gonna go down to you.
Um, it's an interesting question. First, yeah, I'm proud to be black. I think it's weird to say I'm proud to be young and black in America because who's like proud to be young? Like that's not even a thing that exists. And like also that's changing. Like one day I will not be young, but even when I'm not young, I'm still black and in America probably. So I think the pride comes in being black um, in America and not necessarily the young. That's a condition that's attached.
Okay.
Um, but I think to be black in America, kind of like Ashton said, like to actually be black in America, there is no definition or metric. Even for me, like it's literally just like I hear it and it's like to be black in America. But I think if I remove my me being myself as a black person and just look at the condition of blackness in America and what that is to be, I think it's to be inescapably defined by the fact that you're black. And I think that's like what, unfortunately and fortunately, depending on the context, being black in America is. It's this no matter what or where you are, regardless of like the environment you're in and whether it's to your advantage or disadvantage, your blackness or lack thereof, or how you're black, or whatever the question or case may be, um, is inevitably something that is going to be a defining factor for you,
Mm-hmm.
whether that's in truth, like whether it truly does define you as a person, or whether it's the perception that it's defining you. But either way, that's like something that you can't really escape in America, at least.
Okay. So it seems as though, all of you are saying that, yeah, you're proud of being black in America, being black, not necessarily. The question of the young part is because of who you are. You're young people, and it's where you are in life right now. You're in your younger stage of life as far as adulthood. So that is what aligns you in that area. But I'm glad to know that you do feel like you're proud to be black in America because, we do take a beating even today. And there's a lot that we all know. Our history has been long and hard, and we have gone through a lot as a people. And even today, you would think that it would be a lot easier for us as a people. But in some areas it is, but there's areas where we're still struggling, walking while black, living while black, driving while black. All of these things are issues that are in our society today. And, these are issues that we want to be able to dive into and discuss with you all. Let me ask you this. Um, Do you feel that, how do you feel about the way a young man and young boys are portrayed in media? Do you believe the media influences the way black males behave? And Ashton, you can answer that too, even though you're a young lady. So, How do you feel about the way Black males are portrayed in media?
Well, I think because there's different classifications of young black males in that are portrayed in the media. You have young black athletes, you have young black rappers, you have young black regular
Mm-hmm.
males. But for you, young black celebrities, but for athletes, I think that they're idolized as revenue income and not actual people. So, like when this whole thing about coronavirus happened and people were upset about sports and they were still wanting them to play, it's like they're not looking at the bigger picture. Like these guys are still people. Like they have lives, they have families, and things like that. And even for the young black rappers, I think they look at them as drug endorsing people who think that they're invincible. And I don't think that's necessarily the case either because we don't really know these people personally. So we can't say the things that they put into their art is actually how they live their life. Um, and then for just the regular young black celebrities, I don't, um, me personally, I don't really know or see how they're portrayed in the media. So I think it's different aspects of that is being portrayed uh, for the different people that are in different areas, if that makes sense.
Okay. Um, Ashton?
I'll let the rest of the men answer first.
Hmm?
I said I'll let the other guys answer first.
Okay. Ashton wants you guys to go first. Emmanuel, how do you feel about that?
I think it's a loaded question because first and foremost, when I hear the question, I immediately ask myself, who is the media that you are referring to? Because media is too. It's unfortunately the word that we use because most people are usually talking about it in general. But there's
Mm-hmm.
news. There's now social media, which is huge. There's Hollywood. There's the music industry. There's all different facets of me. There's television. There are these different areas of media that all in their own ways, like Christian alluded to, like they all portray black men kind of in different ways and different lights. But then it's also difficult because it's really about what you give your attention to. Because
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, if you only pay attention to how the media negatively views black men in America, then that's how you'll see that, which will then consequently lead to you ignoring any positive that there may be, and vice versa. And both of those are dangerous because neither one of them is accurate. So you're seeing one. So I think this is a very difficult question to answer. With that being said, in my best way to answer it, if we're just talking general media, right? If we're talking about the encapsulation of all of those different forms of media I just said, do I personally like the way that black men are portrayed? No. However, I recognize that this is currently, right now in history, this is probably the single best portrayal of black men in the media in ever. So it's a double-sided coin, right? You have the fact that, like you said, there's a sense of idealization behind athletes, not viewing them as people. Donald Trump telling LeBron to shut up and dribble. The NFL owners not really letting their athletes have any type of voice, etc. Coronavirus, etc., etc. You got rappers and just musicians in general, being viewed as very much in one lane or another. You're either a conscious rapper or you're a gun-toting, drug-dealing, drugs-taking menace, misogynistic to society, and, so on and so forth. I can go through like every type of media and how they view black men. None of it's 100% accurate. I think it's very difficult to get to a place where any body of people are being 100% accurately portrayed in media. I think the closest is probably straight rich white men, but that's also because they control media, and so they're allowed to, purvey if they're portrayed correctly.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like I said, I have an appreciation for the fact that like we're at a place that's way better than we've ever been in history. at no other time in history could we have movies that show black men as naturally and complexly as, films like, If Beale Street Could Talk, or Moonlight, or even things like Black Panther, like, even though like it's a superhero, like, or Us and Get Out, where those are even horror films, but they're complex black people. Black people are allowed to be complex in realms. So I mean, overall, it's about, for me at least, finding the balance and trying to like recognize there's a lot of work still to be done. I can appreciate where we are when I'm, able to take in the media, allowing black people and black men specifically to kind of think the way that we're portrayed, because that's the best way to portray something, to allow them to do the portraying.
Okay, well, I hear a lot of positives in that. Does anybody have anything that, I know Andrew and Ashton has to go, but does anybody have anything that they want to say to either one of Christian's or Emmanuel's responses?
That I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so Andrew, you go. How do you feel about it?
Well, like both Emmanuel and Christian said, it all depends on who it is that's being portrayed. Because, like Emmanuel said, like Christian said, there are different occupations of people that are being portrayed, but the people who are portraying those people have different occupations as well. There's different types of media, and then even as far as people who don't have necessarily the job description as a reporter or having to do anything with news, but they are like a blogger, or pages like the Shade Room and like TMZ, like places like that. Not comparing those two, but like the fact that those two, they're like a third party who gets information just like everybody else, and like kind of releases it as it goes, but it's like their method of doing so. They kind of take drastic measures and stuff like that. So it really depends on who it is and who's behind the pushing of whatever story. Because say the way that they would portray somebody like let's say Richard Sherman, who's like never really had any trouble outside of the field, would be completely different than somebody say like Gilbert Arenas, even though he's a different sport. Just people who, just some names that I can think of off the top of my head. It really depends on the person, the media outsource that's doing it, and if that person has like a past or not. Like to this day, people will never let you forget the fact that Chris Brown assaulted Rihanna, and like they will always bring, that's like one of the first things anyone says when it has anything to do with anything. And along with a lot of people who may have had rape allegations against them, if they're in something else, that is always brought up because of the fact, for whatever reason, it's just the story that sells. Because a lot of times it's to get everybody wants to be first in their coverage of anything, and it has nothing to even do with being right or correct. You just want to be first, because if you can get it out first, then that story is technically what people will take as the truth. It's like war. Who the side who wins gets to tell the story. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Okay. Ashton?
Okay. I mean, really, I agree with what everybody said. I think, yeah, there are a lot of perspectives. When you say the media, my mind automatically goes to just the news, because that's just the field I'm in. I feel like, yeah, it just depends on who they're talking about and who is actually the person putting out the information, because most places know that the feel-good stories aren't always the ones that are going to sell. So they may do something that's more like detrimental, or even if it's like a little inkling of it being wrong or bad, then that's what they push out, because that's what will get more views and things like that. But it really just depends. And I think now is the age where there's a lot more media outlets that are promoting good Black men to kind of combat the stereotypes that they've had leading up until this point. So it depends on your perspective and what you choose to watch, honestly.
Okay. Okay, so the general consensus seems to be positive more than negative, which I'm glad to hear since you guys are the youth and the ones with your ear to the ground of what's going on in a lot of these different areas of the media. We want to just ask one other question before we have a guest that we're going to be bringing on. And we want to ask you guys one more question before our guest comes on. And this is totally off, going in another direction. Okay, so this question is, do you find yourself having to turn up or turn down your Blackness for the sake of the environment you find yourself in and in the people said environments? Or do you feel you are unequivocally Black regardless of where you are or who's around? I see Christian smiling. Why don't you take that?
Well, in the workspace, I do try to tone down my Blackness, even though I work with all Black people. But it's more for the for the customer than it is for my employees or my fellow my coworkers, because we laugh and we have a good time, but they're big on the customer interaction, and like the customers can do reviews and things such as that, so they try to keep up the customer satisfaction. But I found myself, when I was in school, I went to a PWI, which is a primarily white institution, for those who don't know. I found myself toning down my Blackness a lot because I was around a lot of Caucasian people and people of other races as well, but Caucasians were the majority. So I tried tone down my Blackness a little bit, because some of the things that I would say, they wouldn't know what I was referring to, and I didn't want to portray the stereotypical. I don't even know what the stereotypical Black person is, but I tried not to. I tried not to portray that. But when you're around peers, you can be unequivocally Black.
Yeah.
And I try to stay true to myself as much as I can, and not try to, be someone else when I'm around different people.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a very honest answer. Thank you so much. Andrew, how about you?
Like Christian said, I don't act like the stereotypical Black person. Not as far as when I say stereotypical Black person, I mean that is portrayed from people who aren't Black. That people who, if you could imagine what somebody who isn't Black would think a Black person is, that I'm not that, is what I mean when I say stereotypical. And personally, just being a product of the two parents I have, I don't like to draw attention to myself a lot. Just from, my sphere of influence, I've learned that that's always the person you want to avoid, is being the loudest person in the room. So being in, like, I've a lot of times had to be, peacemaker in situations and not, really turning up on anybody. So I was never really like a confrontational type of person. Like, the worst I would do to people is correct them when they were wrong, and that would be that would lead to some sort of disagreement, but it wouldn't be like, heated, ready to come to blows or anything like that. So, I feel like I've always been unequivocally me, and I am Black, so I guess I am being unequivocally Black, and I'm like, I haven't had to, dial back and, not use certain lingo or like not talk the way, but I do have a on and off switch that I use around people who I'm definitely more, comfortable with, because I wouldn't talk to them the way I would talk to my professors, because that's just the way life is. Like, I can't talk to everybody the same way.
There's a time and place for everything.
Yeah, exactly. At some point, I want to be making money, and in order to be getting the type of money I want to get, I'm going to be sitting across from some very uppity white people. Not that's just what it is. in the music industry, that's who owns all the. That's who owns all that. Who has all the bread. So, the rooms I'm going to be in, I have to know how to articulate what I want and what I don't want, and things of that nature. So, yeah, I feel like I've always been unequivocally black.
Okay. Emmanuel?
This is my question. I just felt like I should say that. I don't know why. But I definitely turn up or down my blackness depending on where I am and who I'm around. That's been a product, like that's been something that unfortunately has been my instinct, which I'm trying to train myself out of and get to the place where I feel like I'm being unequivocally black and just like truly myself in that regardless. But I quickly kind of gained that, I guess, skill or ability or pattern from a very young age, because I had very like different environments, and my main environments was church, which was super black, my home, which was black, and then school, which was very not black. In elementary school, I was the only black boy the whole time I was there, until when I was in 5th grade, there was one other black boy in kindergarten. And then when I went to middle school, it was me in Barrington. And then when I came down to Georgia, it was culture shock because I went to Miller Grove Middle and everyone there.
Yep, definitely was for him.
And it's not that like I wasn't used to being around black people. Like I said, I had lived in a very black home. I went to a super black church. It was black to the max. And even just in my environment, like the people that I would hang around with, like they were black. I was being black, but I very quickly realized that I had very different expectations for me in school. Not just like different in the sense of like, this is school and your expectations here are different. But different as in like there's different expectations for you than there are for other people. And I didn't really have to be articulated like blatantly. Like it was something that I knew and feel. And so I immediately started to morph to being able to survive in these environments that were very not black, and therefore had an idea and a shape for me that they want me to go to that makes them most comfortable. And so I just, when adapting that, it became an instinct. I just know when to do that and when not to. You know, they talk about like when you do it for corporate America, like code switching. Like I feel like code switching is almost too simple for like the type of morphing that I would put myself under. And it's still like was within me because I did it for so long that now that I'm older and trying to remove that and be on like wherever I am and wherever I'm around, it's still like my instinct to do the opposite, to adapt to the world around me. But right now, like Christian, I have attended a PWI for the past 4 years, Kennesaw State University. And for those who don't know, Kennesaw State is in Cobb County. And Cobb County is sponsored by racism. So it's quite honestly, like it was very much throwing me into an environment where not only is like being unequivocally black like a questionable activity, but it's also like considered dangerous, like, just because of the skin we have, we can be viewed in a certain way. And so I've also, with being in the world of theater, which is also like not very unequivocally black, I did some adapting there. And then I got to a point where I was like, this is kind of boof. And so now I'm getting to that point where I'm trying to untrain myself for all those years of all of that.
Wow. Powerful. It's funny because I guess I didn't expect to hear so many responses yes to the turn up and down of you guys. So before we bring our guest in, Ashton, can you give us your views on,
I
are
can
you
answer that for you.
are you just unequivocally black girl, or do you have to turn up and down your blackness?
I don't ever feel like I have to turn it up. I think I didn't realize how much I do have to kind of simmer it down until I started working in corporate.
Ah,
So I have a
and why is
really
that?
laid back job. It's a lot of white people. And I can't do as much as I would like to. And also just trying to be in a place where you obviously want to advance, and I want to get raises and things like that. And I think the most I feel like I have to turn it down is in moments where I get angry.
Mm,
It's kind of like that line, okay, do I say exactly how I feel, but then kind of further prove the stereotype that they already have of black women? Or do I just not say anything, but still know that I'm mad or I was slighted in some type of way? So I think that's the only round where I ever feel like I do have to kind of fall into the code switching thing. I don't even think it's necessarily a negative. I think it's just a survival skill for black people in general, which is why so many of us do it in the first place and we don't consciously think about it. We just switch and do whatever we need to do to keep moving and to progress in whatever way we want to.
wow. I can remember when my daughter Janelle was in younger, people used to say to her that she sounded white. Even some of her family members used to try to make fun of her because she spoke proper, and spoke a certain way. And Emmanuel the same, but I don't know if they were really making fun of him. But I definitely remember people making fun of her. And, you know, it's almost like a thing where to our race, if we act a certain way, we're not acting black. But if we do act black, then you're hindered in other arenas.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree with that? We're not going to go into deep conversation because we have our guests coming on, but would you kind of give that as a synopsis?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's hard to kind of figure out because all of us grew up in different areas or grew up around different people. So I used to get told that I sounded white all the time, but that's because I grew up in the suburbs for most of my life. And
Mm-hmm.
those were just the people that I was surrounded by. I don't think it changes the level of my blackness at all just because I can speak a proper sentence just because I was taught in school grammar.
Right, right. Yeah, this conversation is so deep. We can dive into these questions and pull them apart and put them back together again. And we're going to. We do have a question on the floor from Doris. We'll have to address that. She wanted you guys to give her your definition of what it means to be black. We talked about how, if you feel like you're proud of being black, but we're going to have to table that for right now because we do have a guest that's in the studio waiting to come in. And we're going to kind of switch. First of all, we want to say thank you to everyone that is watching. We had a couple of people join our Heal and Pain Through the Arts group while we've been online, and we want to thank them for joining in. And we want you to share where you're tuning in from in the comments. And if you do have some positive feedback for our youth or some feedback, period, please put it in, and we'll try to go over that if we can. Sean Jackson said one time for all my Miller Grove schoolers. He saw the Emmanuel's on my Miller Grove. And Vincent Cheeks wanted you guys to know that this is a great thing that we're doing. So we're going to, without further ado, we're going to switch up a little bit now. I'm going to digress. And we're going to have two co-hosts, Ashton and Emmanuel, are going to take the conversation. Once I bring on our guest and introduce and welcome him, they're going to take the conversation further. So we're going to bring in our guest that's in the studio waiting. We want to welcome to Healing Pain Through the Arts Youth Presents Youth Speak Out podcast. We'd like to welcome Q Harper
Hey,
with
hey,
us
hey, hey.
tonight. Thank you so much, my brother, for coming on. We
Hey,
appreciate
peace and
you being
love.
a
Peace
part
and
of the
love.
conversation. I'm going to digress, and I'm going to leave you in the hands of the people who you deal with best, the youth. They're going to take it from here. Okay, so we have two young people that's going to take you further, and our other two are going to be here to help join the conversation, and I'll be laying back in the cut. Yeah,
Thank
y'all.
you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Okay, so we'll just start. You can go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do.
What I do? Okay. Well, my name is Q Harper. I am founder and president of Project Keep 'Em Off the Streets Incorporated, which is a local youth nonprofit organization right here in the Metro Atlanta area. Um, what else you want to know?
What is one of you guys' main goals in the program?
Our main one of our main goals is to make successful attempts to spare at-risk youth from the unnecessary hardships of street life by exposing the realities of the streets.
Mhm.
How do you do that?
Personally, my personal life experiences from the unexperienced age of 13, running with the criminal street gangs, drugs, selling drugs, guns, running guns. I've been shot, been stabbed, been to prison, jail, in and out. So
Jesus.
I've been around. So those are some of the areas that I personally deal with because I've been there, done that. So that's how we do that.
Mm-hmm. So, like, what was your process for turning your hardships into something positive for other people around you?
One more time.
I said, what was your process for turning your hardships into something positive?
Um, the first process that I think happened is getting tired of running the streets, the in and out of jail. Thank God for my parents and my sisters that was giving me those positive seeds that was being planted in my life at that time, even when I was going astray. Um, I think looking back and seeing a lot of my peers doing a lot of hard time and being murdered, and a lot of them committed suicide that I know of. And that's having a change of mind. I would always say to other people too that you have to want the change in order to change and be the change. So my mindset started changing at the same time. Of I didn't want to go to prison anymore. I didn't want to do the drugs. And there was a feeling inside of me that I think I always knew that it was something more to life, but I think I was a product of my environment at the same time. So it was monkey see, monkey do, But and it just took a lot. It took a lot of church praying and others praying for me, that one day I would see that light and be able to survive and be what I am today. Because it's really a long road if you're in those types of environments or community in which, by default, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question.
Oh,
I'm
go
sorry,
ahead.
Mayo. Q, my name
Right
is
here.
Christian. How you doing?
Sorry, our Wi-Fi been doing this all day.
Oh, he
Okay.
can't hear me. I'm sorry. My name is Christian. I do have a question for you though.
Okay, sir. How you doing, Chris? How you
Um,
doing, man?
I'm well. I'm well. I heard you speak about the environment and you being a product of that environment. So I wanted to know, do you think or do you believe that young men and women growing up in um, poverty environments or just broken homes or things such as that, they become the product of the environment that they're living in, and they turn to the streets as kind of like the family that they don't have?
I'm hoping I'm hearing you correctly. I don't. Of course, it's not everybody, but it makes you at a higher risk of going astray, and it depends on your family structure, because that's where we see most things break down is in the home. So I don't believe it's everybody, but I believe that in escaping some of those attributes that the street offer, it does come from the community that you're born and raised in. And only, sometimes it just takes a strong minded person, or you go through a lot to try to make it out. Some don't. I'm quite sure you guys know of someone that didn't make it out, or they became to be a product of the environment, going through the penile system and things of that nature. Then we wind up getting it right later on in life.
Absolutely. Now, as you noted, our episode today is about being young and black in America. So to the table to you, one of the questions that we answered earlier. So, as a black man yourself that works with young black men and women at risk youth, how do you feel that young black men are portrayed in the media, and do you believe that that media portrayal influences the way that black men behave?
Saint Even, what's good, brother? Long time.
How are you?
It's good to see you, man.
Yes, sir.
Do I believe? I don't believe how we're being portrayed, because there was a stigmatism that I believe that was put on us. As we all know, that we are not that, no matter what the stigma is. I've listened to you guys and your dialogue, which was wonderful, but for us turning down my blackness or whatever, you can hear it in my tone that I am what I am, and being black is something I can't help but be. But I do understand, or being in different environments, and how people, the young lady was saying about talking like you're white. It's just proper grammar in which they give those attributes to the Caucasian race. I just feel like if you wanted to speak properly, then you would do so. I don't, we were taught the English language. So the media does portray black to be a certain type of way, but then again, that kind of goes on us having the lack of unity. So I think the divide and conquer, which was displayed so many moons ago, kind of worked. And my dream is for us to unite and to kind of revisit history. I'm big on history, man. And as people of, you guys' age, is to revisit history to see what was wrong, what happened. Because it seemed like going forward, we're just repeating history. And people say it all the time. So I'm pushing for, like, what are we going to do? We got to learn history. We got to revisit that. We got to learn the laws. We are living in a system that is governed by laws, but yet and still we don't know laws. So some of the things that are the answers are going to require us to read, and they say we don't read. I mean, that's another stigmatism, because I'm quite sure we all read at some point, but it's what we're reading. And we can't always want to be entertained. I've been seeing quotes of when it comes to black issues, they always have the entertainers or the sports arena to speak up for us, but never the people that's hurting, never the people that going through it, never the prisoners, never, when they're beat to the ground and over sentenced, you don't hear from them people. So we're kind of being muzzled, and they can squeeze through the gaps when we're not united.
That was good.
Do you think it's actually possible for all black people to unite, though?
No, I don't think it's possible, because I think we never done it. We united as groups. We united as nations of people, and we had different causes and in different things that we believed in. But I do think for the common good, we all share the same enemy today as it was back then. So that's why you have to kind of connect with like-minded people. I think everybody has something to bring to the table, because I mean, I'm going to stay optimistic about the future, because a lot of people are doing a lot of things, and we are waking up individually that I'm seeing, and I'm loving it. But we kind of shooting behind the 8 ball, man, as we going on with this pandemic right now. They just caught us. It's like they caught us slipping. You know what I'm saying? So every day we got to continue to connect, and I think personally a lot of people are in their feelings of why they don't, and we're gonna have to put a lot of those type of things behind us, and for that common good, for the better of the unit and the as a nation of people. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have to do better for us communicating and expressing ourselves. A lot of, like this right here, healing pain through the arts. We try to find all these avenues to share our story, and sometimes it's just becoming to be intercepted and things of that nature, or turned to be a degrade, or we're rooting for the bad things. like the hip hop, higher infinite power, healing our people. Now it's just gangster rap all over the place. You know what I'm saying?
So we have a question. One of the viewers that are watching us on Facebook Live, they asked, Mr. Harper, how do we deter youth from the fast money and street life?
For me, that's what I love. I believe it is, first of all, teaching the youth early. If there are parents out there listening, I have always believed that teaching them to do what you do at an early age. If some parents would say when they're paying bill, they'll say, "Get out of here and go in your room. I'm on the phone with the bill." No, it's like, no, sit them there. And we're talking about an early age now, because I always felt like the majority of the time that I've seen, a person was 18 before they ever worked their first check or got a banking account. They do nothing about it. And some only learned from getting their first job and then was maybe told to go to the bank and open up a bank account, but we wasn't taught.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that the early childhood education and development on those things that matter, because like I said, we shooting behind the 8 ball. Most of us are 21, 25 when we first started knowing of credit, and we already, we go to college and you got student loan, student debt. You come in out the gate wrong.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I have a question. My name is Andrew. I'm Christian's younger brother and St. Even's cousin, as well as the
Peace,
lovely,
peace, peace.
Amber Lyons' nephew. My question is, when you think of the role models for young Black American youth, men and women, do you feel like there is a way to shift the stigma? All right, back. The stigmatism that you said earlier that was put on us, we think that there's a way to shift it to something positive through the role models that we have, or do we need some new ones?
Well, I'm gonna say this. It goes back to your upbringing. Your role model supposed to have been mom, dad. The truth be told, those are the first ones that you see in the first cycle of your life. Those are the people that's supposed to pave the way for you to not just be like them, but like they always say, I want you to be better than me. You know what I'm saying? But in that essence of parents or whatever being absent, or they just didn't know how to, which is, it's nobody's fault, because we were forced in this situation from the beginning. So I never point the finger. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We all just probably came up from a hell of a situation, to still be here. But a new role model, no. But somebody that has the statue as a role model or a mentor or counsel should be in our lives. I hate to see any youth that don't have a mentor or uncle or cousin that somebody's doing something positive, because the negative and the positive, the only difference is who has the most influence.
Come
People want to
on
be
now.
like, people want to be like gangster, the killer, the pimp, the whore. That's because that's who they see the most. When it comes to positivity, we really only have church. You know what I'm saying? And that's a whole other thing in itself, because we got to learn this of ancient, at a different time, and then trying to live with the present, and then worrying about the future. But to be 10 toes down, it's like we gotta, we just gotta have those role models, man. We have to be taught how to love ourselves, and then as you get older, you will see. And we all gonna stray away. We all gonna, go do some things we shouldn't do, or something may be legal. I don't know. I'm only one person. I know I've probably done it all, and it wasn't a good thing, so I can't brag about it. But roll. I hope I answered that the best way I could, because I'm only saying where I think it should start. And because if you're young, you can't go find a mentor. You can't go find a positive role model when you're 5 and 6 and 7. Some of the golden years for kids in the learning process of their brain.
Mm-hmm.
I
Every time Christian go to say something, he go.
It's the Wi-Fi. But going back to what Ashton said about black people being united, what do you think it is that pits black people, young and old, against each other and like almost compete and not want to work together?
I think you answered it. I think from I always talk from a historical standpoint. So when I'm going all the way back from maybe slavery coming forward or the Willie Lynch, some of those things of how those people back then were bred for that, to compete against each other, I couldn't help you, you couldn't help me, and being castrated in front of family and daughters and mothers and stuff like that. I really think in my heart that that did something to people, that trickled down and really was embedded in our blood. Because I don't see any other reason, and quite I don't. Of course, we're not the only race that does that. We're just the one that I think are overrepresented. So when you see the news, it's always black folks. It's always, what I'm saying. You think, other races not killing each other. They're not doing drill. They're not breaking in houses. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really buy into all that. I just try to stick with the solution and what I can bring to the table and stuff, stuff like that. But it is a bigger picture that I think you have to start with your small circle and get that information and then move and put your best foot forward. Make your next move your best move, and something will most definitely change.
Can I interject a question? And this is for our guests and our co-hosts and our team. They can jump in and discuss this with you as well. So we want to ask this: have you ever experienced systematic racism or racial profiling?
Oh, of course he has.
That question for me?
Yes, sir.
Systematic
Racism or racial profiling?
The profiling, most definitely. Yeah. Systematically. I think it's all a game. I think we all at some point, yes. To answer your question, yes. Yes. I believe in
Can you
that. I
shape a
believe in it.
scenario for us? Like, how did it turn out? What happened?
Well, the profile is straight just riding and being black in America or being black in a nice car, and if you get okay, I'm gonna say this. You guys might can attest to it or not. If you get pulled over and the officer says license registration, you proceed to give him your license and registration. You're saying, what did I do wrong? Is there a problem? He says, sit there. You black, you got maybe other occupants in the vehicle, and he don't tell you what you done. So at that point, he just know you black. And then either he tells you to get out, he look for something, don't find anything, then he tells you to have a good day. To me, that's the profile. Because what was your reason for pulling me over? It was a stigmatism. To me, that's it's right there in your face. That's pretty simple to straight to the cut. Because a lot of people can probably look back now and say, you know what, that's what that was. Have a nice day. What did I do, officer? He can't tell you what you did.
I think all African Americans, whether they realize it or not, have been racially profiled, and in some way they've experienced some systematic racism. Because if you're thinking about it, I think we as African Americans, we play a rigged game with our Caucasian and other counterparts in housing and education and in employment. It's the odds are stacked against us, and our parents and grandparents have always told us we have to work twice as hard to get what they have. So, and the reason that is because it's not set up for us to be able to easily access it.
So why we can't? Let me ask you a question. So instead of saying we need to work as hard as they did, then why are we not putting ourselves in position for the position? So when you walk in, you see me.
I
So
think
you can
now
get that,
that
you can get that loan or you can get that job. Not saying favor's fair, but what I'm saying is when we're talking about, let's say the Caucasian nation, they look out for each other first.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I don't believe it's a racism thing. It's just they race first. We don't do that. I mean, what I see is when it comes to African Americans or we are Americans, how we want to, that's a long story. But however, what I'm saying is they look out for their people first. So if they white, they come in, they got it. You can be in office right now. If I come in, you're gonna be looking me up and down and looking for a reason not to give it to me.
Uh-oh.
and that
That's
goes
our
back to
problem.
what we were saying earlier
Yes,
about
sir.
how we're competing against each other and not trying to lift each other up.
Absolutely.
Right. So now since we know that, then looking towards the future and looking for the silver lining and everything, like I said, it takes you. So if you start where you are, he starts where he is. I'm starting where I am because I didn't finish the entire question the young lady asked because she was saying, what do I do? I do the credit situation. I do workshops on ex-felons getting out, getting a pardon, dressing for success, workshops such as leadership, empowerment. That's why I stay right there. You know what I'm saying? Because if I can get to you early enough and give you leadership, which I think we all have in us, that need to be birthed out of us, and the empowerment, if I get to you early enough, preventative measure, which this organization is, what's the likelihood of you joining the gang? What's the likelihood of you involving yourself in criminal activity? Because it's what you don't know is what's hurting us. A lot of information is just hidden from us.
Yeah.
And a lot of people know a lot of things and they not gonna tell you.
Of course. Of course. It's unfortunate we try to hide the knowledge sometimes, and we need to be sharing it so we can all win.
Exactly. And think about this. It's only the information that sets us apart. When people get rich, they leave the hood. They not telling you what they done. They gone. I'm gonna say like Rick Ross when he made that song "Buy Back the Block." That was serious to me. I was like, man, I'm like, pump you like, hey, you get the money now. You know what to do. Stop, leaving the hood because the money circulates and we like right now they saying in China they not allowing black people into their stores and shops and But over here we waiting for them to open to go spend our money right back with them.
You better preach.
We gotta it's that kind of stuff that's keeping us behind. I saw a video where the man was so upset with his with the Chinese beating on the women and black women. He came in like, hey, all y'all come out. We finna shut it down. They didn't want to get out. He was like, they disrespecting our women, they putting their hands on them, and they come back to the shop the next day. Now, I'm not preaching for violence or anything like that, but what I'm saying is we've been so conditioned that it's like if somebody get murdered right now, it's more like, man, I'm glad that wasn't me. But we'll go march for everything else. We'll unite for everything else. We'll go to the liquor store together. We'll go to Church's Chicken together, Popeye together. But you start talking about putting money in the pot to somebody say you don't live here, this ain't yours, and we can say, hold up, partner. I'm just keeping it real,
Yes. So Emmanuel and Ashton, you guys, Emmanuel, you have any more questions for our guests before we close out this part and kind of go back into, we're certainly not kicking Q out, but we want to respect his time. And Q, listen, I'm so grateful that you came on tonight. Thank you for coming and sharing with our team.
Hey, the pleasure was mine.
Vital. What you do is vital. You and I have known each other for years, and I feel like I know we're comrades because we're both fighting for our youth. We have our feet on the ground. This is grassroots, and we're fighting for our youth, and I appreciate you being here, and I know they do. So, Emmanuel and Ashton, as our co-host for tonight, you have anything else you want to either say to Q, ask him before he goes out?
Just one thing. First of all, thank you. Everything you said was great and really super true. Before you leave, I just want to make sure everybody knows where they can find you and if there's anyone who wants to seek out your services, how do they get in contact with you?
We on social media. Facebook is PKOTS. That's the acronym for Project Keep 'Em Off the Street. So it's PKOTS Incorp, INCORP on Facebook, and we're PKOTS_Inc. on Instagram.
Okay.
All right.
You have anything coming up, Q?
I got a lot of things coming up, and just trying to finish putting the dotting I's and crossing T's, and I think the time is now for whatever we got going on.
Yes.
I just want to put my best foot forward and hope that those going in the same direction, we can kind of get on the same bus or the same train and get there.
Yes. Yes. One last thing, Emmanuel. Sorry, Emmanuel, go ahead.
Oh no, I didn't. I was just gonna thank him for joining us and finding so much wisdom and his point of view and his expertise. I didn't have a question.
Thank you.
I have a question before you leave.
Yes, ma'am.
You and I work in the field of youth advocate, youth empowerment. We have Vincent Cheeks on here, who is amening you and saying, that you're dropping some good knowledge and things. We have people that are on that are giving kudos to what you're saying. Bless Yolanda, Yvette Clayton, just Sierra, so many different people that's in on the live tonight, and they are really being blessed by what we're talking about. But when you're on the ground and you have your feet on the ground and you're doing this tedious, hard, challenging work, and Vincent, I know you can attest to this. I want to know, how do we garner more support for our youth? Because I've worked with youth for over 30 years, and I feel like in the community, we only see my Jimmy, my Susie, my Lil Kim, we don't see community. And so one of the things that I've been trying to do is, they say it takes a village to raise back up the village and birth our tribe, the ones that will be attached to what it is that we're doing. I just feel like the support is lacking when it comes to youth. We will support stuff that is not even positive, things that's not even, we're talking about investing in the lives of our young people. And when I say our, I always use capital letters for our, and that is outstanding, unique, and refined, because that's how I see our young people. So what can we do? And Vincent, you can put something on here. What can we do to garner more support? And our young people too, our team, you tap into this. What can we do to garner more support for our youth? Because I feel like the support is very, very lacking, very lacking. And we, as a community, we are lacking in our responsibility and our accountability when it comes to the youth. It's not just about your child, because your child has to interact with that person's child and that person's child. We need to raise the back up the village and say our. Yeah, I know you can't chastise people's kids like we used to do back in the day, because somebody will cuss you out or come shoot you today. But how do we get parents to be more concerned about us as a people?
Personally, let me make sure I articulate this properly. I think we're doing that now. So let's start there. Okay. What you're doing, this is powerful, because the hands-on approach with the youth, because it's all about attention. It's all about who cares. 99.9 of the youth, if you catch them doing something wrong, they think nobody cares.
Mm-hmm.
Follow me? And also, I think we need to get back to some of the parents, because think about this. When I was in and out of court, and all the guys I saw, they had no support in the court. Their life was on the line. No mom, no dad. And the judge sit there, and when he called your name out, I mean, thank God for my mom and dad when they went to court with me several times. Sorry, mom and dad. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, if they ask who's here with you and your family stands up, the judge can say, you know what, somebody cares about that individual. He not looking to just throw the key away on you. Because remind you, he has the right to put you back in society. So if nobody cares, nobody's here for you, to him, you a throwaway. So one of the methods is, and I want to say this to any adults that's watching. I want to say this from my heart. I really feel like a lot of parents drop the ball, right? They just say they dropped the ball, not saying right or wrong. But I made a post on my page maybe a week ago, and I was hoping I could speak for the majority of the youth that's lost. But we need you guys so bad that I'm like, we forgive y'all. Because some parents feel like they did so wrong, they can't. No, get over yourself. We need you. We accept the apology. We forgive you. It's like get back in position. Because some people just, it's not that they gave up on the youth, they've given up on themselves. So they can sit at home and just get high, man. He on his own. He grown now. She grown now. Woo, 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 woo. But we've been out here with no kind of guideline. No, it's a lot of people out here that don't know what to do. They just out here and they learning from the next person. Now, who's to say what's right or wrong? Because if you never was taught what's wrong, to you it's right. So to the adults, we forgive you. Get back in position. I mean, come on, you got the muscle and then you have the brains. They already taken our elders. So many elders are gone and they're going to the grave with the knowledge. It's not being passed down no more. I mean, to me, that's what it is to me. From my heart, I'm like, listen, the older, the elders, the men, the women, hey, get in position, man. We forgive you. Stop thinking that, I did the best I could. Okay, let's keep doing that then. Let's keep doing the best. Anything but not being present. We are suffering for the lack of. But I start right there.
Okay, wow. You know what? Thank you. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for taking time to come and be a part of Youth Speak Out podcast. You're welcome back anytime. Next week, not next week, in 2 weeks from today, I think it's the 30th of April, we're going to have part 2 of Young and Black in America, and we're going to have a special guest, Shayna Fields. She is been appointed as the NAACP for Georgia, the NAACP youth political chair, a political action chair. So she's a powerful young lady. She's going to be our guest in 2 weeks. So we'll be back in 2 weeks at 7:00 right here. We ask everybody to come back. We're going to ask our team to just give you their how you can reach them, because we definitely want you go follow them, follow Q Harper, please, and support PKOTS. And we want to, starting from Christian, Ashton, Andrew, and Emmanuel, give your social media so people can connect with you. We have talented young people here, and we want you to connect with them and support them and follow them. Christian?
Oh, so my Facebook is my name, Christian Buckmire, BUCKMIRE. Instagram is _CB03. And my Twitter is coach_Buck03.
Thank you.
My Instagram is Ashton Gates with 2 S's at the end, and my Twitter is Ash Gets the News.
Okay.
My Facebook is Andrew Buckmeyer, and everything else is on there as well, I believe, because I just updated it.
Emmanuel, say anything?
You can find me on Facebook, Saint Even, and like it. And on Instagram, I have 2 pages. There's the Even Saint, which is mainly just from my music. And then there's Lions_Emmanuel. There might be an underscore actually. I can't remember. And that's for that's more my personal page, but also like all of my other creative endeavors, so my acting and my writing and stuff. And on YouTube, Saint Even, SoundCloud, Saint Even, all streaming services, Saint Even. Yeah.
Okay. You can find me, Amber Ann Lyons, on Facebook at Amber Ann Lyons. I'm the CEO and founder of From Pain to Purpose Incorporated. This podcast, Youth Speak Out podcast, is a platform where we give young people and the youth a voice to be able to talk about social issues that pertain to them and that concern them. We want you to connect with the voice of our youth. We're streaming digitally on 6 platforms. You can get us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Overcast, Radio Public. Yeah, we're out there. So look us up, connect with us. We got some great episodes up there already. Our last episode is up there now when we talked about COVID-19 2 weeks ago. And you can connect with us on right here and the Healing Pain Through the Arts group. We reached 100 members yesterday. Woo woo! And also connect with us on our From Pain to Purpose page on Facebook. From Pain to Purpose, please subscribe to our From Pain to Purpose Incorporated channel on YouTube and follow us on Twitter, Pain to Purpose, and Instagram, Pain to Purpose. And we want to thank our guest again, Q Harper from PKOTS, for joining us tonight. I want to thank our team, Christian Buckmeyer, Andrew Buckmeyer, Ashton Gates, and my own son, Emmanuel Lyons, aka Saint Even. Thank you to all of our guests that interacted with us tonight. We want to ask you to share the broadcast if you didn't, and we love you. Thank you so much for being here, and until next time, peace out.
That's it.